So I've been using my Revolut Metal plan for now almost 6 months. I thought it would be a good time to give you an honest update of what I think about it, and especially coming from previously the Revolut Ultra plan. But in the past, I also used to be a premium plan member. So I tried all different ones. I thought it would be really good to kind of go through, walk you through what I like, what I don't like, and which plan I would recommend for most people. But first off, of course, I'm a big Revolut fan. I've been using that for a number of years, and it's really my go-to app, especially in Europe. I mean, I don't think there's any nicer, cleaner banking experience as such. I do have different banks, also local banks and other banks in Europe, but none of them come close to how user-friendly it is. And obviously, most of the year I spent in the UAE, where Revolut does work, but you can't really actually use it as a business account and so forth, since they're not really licensed over there. They have been applying to get a license. So once they're really based over there, I will be using it way more, because then I can really have my business account there and so forth. But for now, I kind of use it as a daily transaction app whenever I'm in Europe. But for that, it works extremely well. I am currently on the Metal plan, but previously I used to be on the Ultra plan, and I made videos about this in the past, why it was right at the time, especially when I was traveling a lot. It really did make sense. But now I travel much less. We just got a baby. We don't really travel that much. I work from home. So in my case, the most appealing part of the Ultra plan previously was the airport lounge access, which unfortunately now on the Metal plan, I don't get. At the same time, it's also significantly cheaper. Funnily enough, they actually seem to have increased the price to 16 euros. But then again, I'm not sure, it might be on a monthly basis, because when you look over here, I actually paid 155 for the whole year, which turns out to be around 13 euros. So in my case, actually the pricing I think is really reasonable for what I get. I'll go through what I am getting for it. But yeah, compared to the Ultra plan, which is around 50 euros, inside the app, they're promoting it now. So you pay 45 euros per month. But again, that will be on an annual plan. So you would have to pay the whole amount in advance, which is a lot for most people. So of course, the question is more between the Metal and the Premium plan. The Premium at around 10 euros. So these are probably the most relevant options for most people between Premium and Metal. For example, on my USD account, where I do get now 3.67% interest. So that also depends on which plan you're on. So the higher the plan, the higher the interest. But then again, as the overall interests are coming down, it's not anymore that relevant, right? Because generally the percentage you get on my euros right now, I would be getting 1.93%. For me, it's just not attractive. For that, I'm actually using Bondora, Go and Grow, where I do get now 6%. And the money, as you can see, is paid out to me on a daily basis, which is really cool, and it just compounds over time. So for that, I prefer actually that. By the way, if you want to check out Bondora, you can check out my link down in the description below to get yourself a 5 euro welcome bonus and start collecting a nice interest there as well. But of course, it is super seamless. So if you have your money sitting over here, you might as well just move it to the euro account or USD account to start collecting interest. And again, you can withdraw at any time. And what I meant, how easy it is, because if I wanted to move some of those funds over here from USD to my euro account, because I wanted to make a transaction, I would just say, okay, I would need, let's say, 10 euros over here. It would kind of convert it in the moment. Can even see, obviously, what is the exchange rate over here. Sadly, the dollar has been tanking versus the euro, but it is what it is. There's no fee and the exchange rate is extremely good. So I'm happy with this. I would click on this and boom, a second later, it moves the fund from my dollar account into my euro account. So it's so simple and seamless. And this is what I love about it. So the whole app experience is just very, very nice. Yeah, but coming back to the Metal plan, obviously some of the benefits that I get over here is, no fee ATM withdrawals. But then again, honestly, I don't remember the last time I used cash. Hardly ever. I could technically withdraw up to 800 euros a month free of charge. So if you do use cash quite a lot, that's a nice perk. Then, as you just saw, no fee exchanges. So that's pretty much for most of them. But on the lower or even free plans, that is limited to the free plan. It's up to 1,000 euros and up to 3,000 euros a month for the Plus plan. But again, for the higher paid plans, Premium, Metal, and Ultra, that is unlimited. So of course, if you don't travel much or exchange money much, it might not be that relevant for you. But for me, since I transact quite a bit in different currencies and send money around internationally, that was actually a very important point. But technically, I could also get it on the Premium plan. Now, in terms of planning your wealth, they also have some benefits like no commission free trades. That is nice if you do want to invest through Revolut, which you can, and they have been getting better. Now, one of the big pluses why I do recommend it again, if you wanted to, is the fact that you can now transfer your portfolio to another stockbroker, which is a big plus, right? Which previously you couldn't do. So now you could buy your stocks over here, and there is a way, not maybe to all stockbrokers, but some supported ones, you could send your portfolio and shares to another broker if you wish to do so one day, which I think is super important because you don't want to be locked in, right? Because things change, right? We don't know what's going to happen in 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. And if you wanted to move to another broker because they offered you different benefits, or you moved to a country where Revolut is not supported, you want to be able to do that, right? And now you have that opportunity, which is great. So that's why I could recommend Revolut, even though I personally think there are still better options out there. I personally use different brokers like Interactive Brokers, Trading212, eToro, Lightyear, all brokers I can recommend and have been using myself. So that's for sure what I recommend. But of course, if you want to have everything in one app experience, you can use that through Revolut. And the cool thing is on the metal plan, you do get those 10 free trades a month, which obviously should be enough for most people. If you trade more than 10 times a month, you're not really an investor, I think. You're really a trader. In this case, once again, I think Revolut wouldn't be your first pick because I think there are better options for sure out there that have lower spreads, which is something to keep in mind. And if you are interested in seeing my entire portfolio, what I'm buying, what I'm selling, how much dividends I get, then you are in luck because I actually made my portfolio available publicly, free of charge. All you have to do is either scan the QR code or click the link down in the description below, enter your email address, and I'll send you over the link so you can see all my portfolio, what it's composed of, and it's updated in real time. So whenever I make any trades or how the prices change, you will see my total portfolio value and how it develops over time. So if that's interesting to you, definitely check it out. Now then we have also some other travel related perks like discounted lounge access, which for me is not really that relevant, right? Either I get it for free and I'll go in there and enjoy it, and I do because it's cool. But if I have a discount, I still wouldn't really go for it. Maybe the lounge would cost, I think, like usually 35 euros or maybe 40 euros, depends where you are. But then here you save like 6-7 euros. Again, for me, it just doesn't make sense. Either I travel a lot, then I would just get some kind of lounge access for free, or I don't. And in this case, I wouldn't get a lounge. So yeah, I mean, it's a nice perk, but for me, it was nicer previously when I traveled a lot to have the Ultra plan. I do find it a little bit sneaky how, for example, they integrate some of the benefits. For example, eSIM, you think, oh, it's included because I'm obviously on the metal plan, but then you click on it, but it's actually included only for the Ultra, because then I realized you see this little Ultra icon up there. So they kind of indirectly upselling you to a higher plan, or cancellation insurance is only for Ultra, even though it should be only listed for my metal benefits, right? So it's a little bit deceiving, but hey, it is what it is. You do good things like travel insurance, for example, and some other purchase insurance. Though one thing to keep in mind, I understand now we need to use your actual Revolut card to claim those insurances, right? In the past, you could use any cards, but now in order to claim any of the benefits, you should also be using your Revolut card. Otherwise, I believe you cannot make the claim. And then one of the nicest benefits I think that the plans are offering are the subscriptions. So let's click on see all. So these are all the subscriptions that I'm getting right now. And I don't actually use most of them. I only use 3 really. And that's Financial Times, which I really like. I read it on a daily basis. I quite enjoy the publication. And normally if you wanted to have access to it, it's around, I think, 30 euros or so a month, which is too expensive for me. I wouldn't want to pay for that. But now that it comes as part of Revolut, I'm quite happy to have that. The same with Volt. I really like it. It's a food delivery operating across Europe and many different countries. So that's also a really nice perk. And of course, NordVPN, because I think it's very important to have a VPN. I live in different countries. I can easily change my IP to access different pages and just stay secure, right? I like to work from coffee shops. So you always need to have a VPN because otherwise you can be easily hacked and people can see your traffic. Now, there are also other things like Perplexity, for example, but I'm not really using it that much somehow. I use myself Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT, of course. I pay for all of those plans. Unfortunately, none of them are covered under Revolut, and Perplexity is the only one that's covered. It is great. I can recommend it for many people, but personally, I just don't use it that much. And then obviously some other ones over here. If you haven't found a wife or husband yet, you might want to give Tinder Gold a try, which apparently can increase your chances, plus a couple of other ones. So if I compare it to Premium, obviously here it's significantly less. I would be getting NordVPN, slightly lower tier, but that would still work for me. And I would also get Volt. The only thing I wouldn't be getting is Financial Times. And honestly, that's probably the biggest differentiator right now, for me at least, between Premium and Metal. And for most people, that may not be enough to justify the slightly higher price. In my case, as I said, as I really value Financial Times and I do read it quite a bit, it is actually worth the additional couple of euros, but for most of you, it may not be. And that brings me to the last big benefit that I really value about Revolut Metal compared to Premium, and that's the slightly higher cashback. Because I mostly use my Revolut Pro card, and that's linked to your card level. So the higher your card level is, the higher your cashback is. So you can see right now, I'm getting 0.8% cashback. On the Premium plan, it will be 0.6%, and on the Ultra plan, it will be 1%. So here you have to run your own numbers, right? Depending on how much you spend in a month, you can calculate how much cashback you'll be getting. And you can see in my case, I actually every single month, at least when I'm here in Europe, my cashback more than pays for the plan itself. So it is a no-brainer, right? So in my case, the higher the cashback, the better for me. But in your case, you might be spending maybe 1,000 euros a month. So there the difference from 0.6 to 0.8, that's what, 2 euros. So in this case, there isn't really a major difference. But the more you start spending, the more the cashback would make a difference to your overall decision-making process, right? So that's why in my case, I went with Metal. In the past, Ultra used to pay 1.2%. So that was even more attractive, which kind of in many months also paid for itself, right? At 50 euros. But now that I do spend a little bit less with my Revolut card and more with my UAE bank account, because there I get 2% cash back, it does make sense to scale back to metal in my case. So you can see so far I earned over 1,000 euros in cashback. So it really does add up over time. And of course, one of the cool benefits that you get with any of the Revolut plans is the nice analytics also, where you can really get a nice insight into your spending, which I really appreciate. I can just go into it. It categorizes automatically what I'm spending on. I can go into each of them and I can see where I spend it on. And what I do is then basically at the end of the month, just write them all down, put it into my budget net worth tracker, which you can, by the way, also get free of charge. You'll find it in the description down below. And then basically I just write those amounts down, put it into my sheet, and I know exactly how much I spent in a given month. I then have my income and then track my net worth over time. So it really does a great job of auto-categorizing all your expenses. So honestly, if I take out the free plan, the basic and the plus, which really I don't think makes sense for most people, unless you really just, use it very rarely. Otherwise, I think it's really a question between premium and metal and ultra. For ultra, I only see the reason to go for it if you really fly a lot and travel a lot. So then the lounge really becomes very attractive. I am currently looking for an alternative to get a card, a program that does give me lounge access, because unfortunately right now I don't have any means to use a lounge free of charge, which I would love to, even though I don't travel much. It's just nice to know that you have that ability. So I'm trying to see, there are some different crypto cards and so on that offer these things. So I'll look into this, but right now I'm just not willing to pay 50 euros a month for a card that I only use a couple of months in a year. So ultimately, I think it comes down to premium and metal. And that's really, as I said, a question of how much you spend in a month. I think for most people, premium is more than enough, unless there are specific partner benefits that I showed you before that you would get only on metal. In this case, you might want to pay a couple of euros more. And don't forget, this pricing depends on different countries. So what you see over here, that's right now what I'm being charged in Lithuania. In Germany, it might be different. And also you may have different benefits. So that's a bit unfortunate. Revolut does not have the same benefits and pricing across all different countries where they operate. So that's something for you to be mindful about. Check your own benefits and pricing in your country. But I think they're very closely matched. It really comes down for me to the cashback and the partner benefits that you're looking for. Because even the interest rates, yes, they are slightly higher, but 2% versus 1.5%, both are pretty boring, right? And I wouldn't recommend you to keep a big stash of money sitting in your account at 2%. I think it's actually less than inflation, so your money actually loses value over time. You might want to have some money over there, but then again, if it's just a bit, then 0.5%, I don't think makes a huge difference to your overall returns. So as you can see, I'm really happy on the metal plan. It renews next year, and at this stage, I will definitely be staying on the metal plan unless there are gonna be some changes or some really new additions to Ultra, because they have been teasing this in the past that there will be more additions coming to Ultra, which can justify the higher price tag. So even if I don't use the lounge that much, if they would, for example, throw in some more AI tools that I'm using or some other tools that I'm anyways using, then I would consider upgrading eventually. But right now, between premium and metal, I think the price difference is really justified given slightly better cashback as well as more partner benefits that I'm actually using. But I'm interested to hear from you. Let me know if you're using any of the plans and which and why. Pop it in the comments down below. Happy to hear from you. Next up, check out this video over here. As always, thanks for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy. See you in the next one. Ciao.